Hey everybody. Today I'm going to talk to you about my Colorado Chili Red Salsa. This is a recipe I've been making from Patty Hinich's cookbook, Treasures of the Mexican Table, for about 3 or 4 years. So we're going to talk about how to make this. This is a fabulous sauce to have on hand for making things like enchiladas and quesadillas and chilaquiles and just about, it's great on chips too. It's a deep, dark red sauce. It's really smooth. And this is this year's version of it. I can up at least a dozen to 16 pints of this every year. This is this year's. And then I have 2 jars of salsa left over from last year. And you can see that these 2 jars are different in color. And the difference is that the type and the amount of chili that I used. I put a lot of chili in both of these, but this one I added ancho chilies too, and so it darkened and deepened the color. I did that this year in this too, although I didn't put quite as many of the chilies in. So anyway, I'm going to show you how to do this. It's a really cool method. It's made by boiling all of your veggies in a pot like this, just covering them up with water and boiling them. You take the dried chilies and seed them. I'll show you how to do that. And then put everything in the pot, boil it up. When it's all tender and mushy, you put it in a blender, you blend it till it's super, super smooth. Put it back into your pot, bring it to a boil, simmer it, put it in canning jars. Boom, you got salsa for the year. So let's see how it's done. So the first thing we'll do is we're going to seed and get rid of the veins inside of these peppers. So using a pair of kitchen shears, I'm just going to cut the top off of each one and then slice it down its side, open it up, and peel out the inside with my fingers. I'm not going to worry about getting every single seed out of there. A couple of seeds isn't going to hurt anything, but I do want to get as much of this out as I can. After I've seeded all of my peppers, I'll wash them, and then I'll chop them up with these scissors and put them in the pot. So here you see me taking those washed peppers, and I'm cutting them with that same pair of scissors into the pot. Now, I need to be able to put the top on this, and so I have to make sure that nothing is sticking out of the top. So I'll rearrange the tomatoes and the onions, and so everything will be submerged once I cover it up with water. Once I've got everything the way I want it, I fill the pot with water, mess around with it a little bit more, then turn on the heat and pop on the top. Pretty mushy. Onions, some peppers. Juice and a mixture of salt and pepper. Okay, so we blended that for a minute. It's just a gorgeous color. Gosh, look at that. Take this off without burning myself. And we're going to put it in this bowl right here. It smells good. Wow, look at that. So it's really interesting. So many different types of peppers and so many different ways of cooking salsa or not cooking it that lead to such different results. It's so neat. All right, so each of those batches, I'm using a Vitamix. I started on 3 and let it go for about 25, 30 seconds, and then I turned it up to about 7, 7.5, and blended it until I hit about the 1 minute, 5, 10 second mark. And it's made it very smooth. Very pretty. You can see this one's even a little lighter. Forgot to add the salt on that last batch, so let's stir this up and see what we think. Add more salt and pepper. Pot has heated up. I'm going to add tablespoons of olive oil. I'm using olive oil because I use olive oil for almost everything except searing tuna. For that I use avocado oil. So it just coated the bottom of the pan, and I'm going to wait until it shimmers. Okay, so the oil in the pan is beginning to shimmer. I always wondered what that meant, but if you see oil shimmering, you know it's shimmering. Now I'm going to pour this in. And get all this goodness out of there. So take a look. It is looking pretty fine, isn't it? It's a nice, deep, dark, rich color. And we're going to bring it to a simmer and hold it there for about 20 minutes. Okay, so you can see that this has come to a simmer. And I'm going to turn it down now and just hold it here for 15 or 20 minutes just to give the sauce a little bit of time to thicken and for the flavors to melt just a bit. So that's what we're going to do. In the meanwhile, over here, let's see if I can get you a little closer. I have put my canning jars into that boiling water and turned it off. They've already gone through the dishwasher on the hot cycle, so I'm just keeping them hot in there until I'm ready to put boiling liquid into it. So that's going to be the drill. So I'll see you back here in a few minutes, about 15 to 20 minutes to be exact. So I'm just coming back every couple of minutes and giving it a stir. Make sure it doesn't stick on the bottom. So far everything looks good. All right, we have simmered this salsa now for about 20 minutes. And at this point I am going to turn the heat off underneath that. And underneath this kettle, which I turned off about the time that I turned this one on, I'm going to turn this one back on because I'm going to need that water to be at a boil so I can put these jars back in and process them. Okay, so let's get started with this. Take the top off of our canner. Those guys have been sterilized in the dishwasher and sterilized in that water bath canner. So I'm going to take a couple of these guys out. Now I've got a little room. I'm going to stick this in here. Just a sec. Now, water bath canning is only appropriate for foods that are acidic, and I will include a list of those foods from Clemson University, foods that are safe to can in a water bath canner. You don't want to do things that have low acidity, like beans and corn and things like that. In a water bath, you need to do things like that in a pressure cooker. I happen to not like those kinds of vegetables canned. I like them frozen. So I just don't worry about it. So I'm ladling this almost boiling liquid into jars that I just took out of an almost boiling pot. I'm filling it right up to the line on my canning pot. These are super hot. So we'll pick them up with a towel and we'll go to the back. Before we get out a couple more jars. I just wish we had smell-o-vision for times like this. This stuff smells so good. It's so rich. It's one of my favorite salsas to use when I make things like huevos, rancheros, or enchiladas. Sometimes chilaquiles. It's a little bit overfilled. Let's get rid of some of that. I think of this salsa as more of a sauce than a salsa, I guess. At least that's how I use it. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to wipe all of the rims, the tops and the rims of these. These are brand new jars, So what I always, when I'm doing this, I'm checking for any chips or any sign of degradation of the jar, but these are brand new. I shouldn't have that. So I have a clean dishcloth, and now I'm just going to wipe the rings. Wipe the rims, and then go around the outside and wipe the rings. The threads, I guess you would call them. So y'all, I want to tell you, it's pretty hot out here. It's about 90 degrees. That doesn't count what's going on with the grill. The tops. And you can see that I put them in with a top inside a lid to make this easy. Come to mommy. So I think it's probably been 4 years or so since I bought salsa. Except like on vacation. Sometimes I don't take salsa on vacation and I have to buy it. But, yeah. All right. Snug these down. And you use a towel to hold on to the jars. You don't have to make them like super tight. I just want to make sure that the lid is seated on there and that the ring, this is tight enough to hold it on, and so it'll pull a seal. A lot of people, like our grandmas, used to take the rings off before they would store the jars and reuse the rings for another batch. Because really all the ring is supposed to do is to keep the lid in place during the canning process. Interesting, huh? All right, now we're going to put these guys in here with my jar grabber. This is a very handy thing. And we're just going to pick each one of these up. Keep in mind, this is boiling water and this is almost boiling too. I'm going to set these jars down in here. I'm probably going to, I know I'm going to have to remove some water, so let me do that now. So a little science lesson for us in displacement. When I had all those jars in there filled with the water from here, they didn't really displace much of anything. But now that I have jars full of salsa in there, they're displacing quite a lot of water. So I don't want so much, but I don't have to worry so much about this canner boiling over because it's so deep. But anyway, I'll add this back in if it looks like we need it, but I have 4 jars in there so far and it's almost covering. That one covered the tops of the jars, and so from here on we're just going deeper and deeper. And you can hear the jars starting to rattle in there because the water is already coming to a boil. All right, that's nice. It's covered by about an inch of water. More of that as I can. Okay. And let's pop the top on there. I'll start timing it when it comes to a hard boil. Some people say that's being a little overcautious, but that's me. I'm a little bit overcautious. Okay, it has been 20 minutes, so we will turn off the heat. Take off the top. And we're going to take these out of the water bath. jar lifters. If we're lucky, you will be able to hear the some of these tops pop. Means that they're pulling vacuum. Alexa, stop. There you go. That was a pop. What's happening is, as they cool, they pull a vacuum and the tops pop in. I've never had one pop that loud before. It must be because of these. It's a different type of jar than I've used in the past. But anyway, we've got a gallon of salsa put up. And after these have cooled down, I will store them in a cool, dry place, and these will keep for about a year. Well, actually, most of them won't keep for about a year because we'll eat them, but they will keep for up to a year. Here goes another one.